Let's talk about Carl Jung's idea of the personal shadow. The shadow is typically referred to as the unconscious aspect of the personality or self that the ego does not fully recognize as being part of oneself. Freud, as usual, painted the idea of the shadow as being negative attributes that people do not acknowledge. But Jungian definition refers to everything outside of the realm of consciousness, whether it be good or bad. It's easy to acknowledge Freud's version and idea of the shadow because it's within our very nature as human beings to reject part of ourselves that we dislike. But under Jung's ideology, the shadow includes things that the self may see as negative or positive, like anxieties or false beliefs that one may have about themselves. Everyone has a shadow, and the more one pushes parts of themselves away, the deeper and darker the shadow becomes. In the last video, I brought up something called the hero's journey, which is a sequence of events that a lot of RPG and adventure games are based on. The hero starts as an unassuming kid or young adult. They gain a bunch of courage going through trials, save people, and eventually fight the big bad guy at the end of the game. One part of the hero's journey, though, focuses on fighting the hero's shadow. Now, the shadow doesn't always have to appear as a shadow version of oneself like Dark Link does. It could appear as a side villain, or it could very well be the boss itself, or it could even take the form of an entire dungeon or a temple. Characters like Goro Akechi from Persona 5, Shadow from Sonic, Riku from Kingdom Hearts, and even Waluigi and Wario from the Mario series could arguably be examples of shadows of protagonists and or allies. Dark Link is obviously Link's and subsequently your own shadow. He can do most of what Link can do, and will even mirror moves that you make with a sword. He appears in many Zelda games as a boss or mini-boss, but we've seen the concept of the shadow otherwise represented in other Zelda games, like A Link to the Past. In A Link to the Past, when you're transported to the Dark World at first, Link becomes a bunny, which could be interpreted as Link's feelings of helplessness, as he is unable to wield a weapon in that state. But everyone else in the Dark World changes as well, including villagers turning into foxes and frogs, cuckoos turning into skeletons. The Dark World is literally the Light World's shadow, changing the residents of the Light World into a shape befitting their personal shadows. Link receives the Moon Pearl, which protects him from Ganon's magic in the Dark World, so he no longer transforms into that bunny. But this could also be thought of as Link finally having the courage to fight in the Dark World during this time of the game. It's a sign that Link is ready to face the challenges of the Dark World head-on. Jung says that encountering your shadow plays a huge part in individuation, basically where someone becomes distinguished among other people. I believe that this is a big reason as to why the Water Temple, which has Link's shadow as a mini-boss, was the last of the first 3 temples to visit. It's because if we think of the Spirit and Shadow Temples as being further tests and trials Link must overcome, Link needed to prove himself to himself before taking on those trials. He had to embrace the qualities of himself that he originally did not embrace, or was conscious of for that matter. Once Link defeats his shadow, either valiantly or sitting in the corner stabbing its knees, Link's own self, or as we discussed in the last video, yourself, strikes a dead balance, like 2 halves becoming whole, not yet becoming greater, which results in a standstill that, in real life, could actually halt some important decisions. It is within the next 2 temples in Ocarina of Time, the Shadow and Spirit, where Link, and subsequently you, gain the courage and strength necessary to be more than you were when you and your shadow merged. It's during these 2 temples that I believe you assimilate your shadow into yourself, which gives you even more strength. The struggle of assimilating your shadow comes with retaining it, but not identifying with it. It takes intense moral effort to prevent yourself from descending into darkness once you start assimilating your shadow. The darkness of the Shadow Temple and the spiritual cleansing of the Spirit Temple are both opportunities in which Link could very well have given up or even betray his destiny. But as long as the player is able to stand up and face these challenges, Link will not cower or betray those that have faith in him. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel in case you want to see some more videos in the future. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming. And as always, if you want to watch me live on Twitch and talk about something that was discussed in this video or videos prior, I do stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So you're free to pop into the chat whenever you would like. You can also follow me on Twitter for updates about the channel, the brand, things that I'm involved with, things that I'm doing. If that strikes your interest, go ahead and follow on there as well. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and as always, stay crazy. Shit. Oh wait, this is, what is this doing? Is this falling off? Am I gonna just die? Oh, yep, I'm dead.